A rainy night, a routine flight, and an unassuming man in a suit. What could possibly go wrong? Yet this seemingly ordinary journey turned into one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in aviation history. A hijacker who vanished into thin air, leaving behind a trail of questions and a legend that has fascinated the world for decades. It's a cold, rainy night in Portland, Oregon. The weather is gloomy, with dark clouds overhead as Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305, a Boeing 727, prepares for what is expected to be a routine 30-minute flight to Seattle. Among the usual hustle and bustle of an airport, passengers line up for boarding, seeking shelter from the biting wind. The Boeing 727 sits on the tarmac, its engines humming softly, waiting for takeoff. On board are 36 passengers and 6 crew members, each unaware that this seemingly ordinary flight will soon become part of one of the most infamous and unsolved aviation mysteries in American history, the calm before the storm setting the scene. Among the passengers, one man stands out for his composed and unassuming demeanor. He calls himself Dan Cooper, dressed in a sharp black suit, white shirt, black tie, and a raincoat. He looks every bit the ordinary businessman. Carrying a briefcase and a brown paper bag, he blends seamlessly into the crowd. The man takes his seat, 18E, located at the rear of the aircraft, which gives him a perfect view of the cabin and easy access to the plane's aft stairs, something that will later become crucial. As the plane ascends to its cruising altitude of 10,000 feet, Cooper signals for flight attendant Florence Schaffner. With a calm, polite expression, he hands her a small folded note. Initially dismissing it as just another flirtatious attempt from a passenger, she places it in her pocket without a second glance. However, Cooper leans in slightly, speaking softly, but with an intensity that makes her pause. Cooper whispers, "Miss, you should read that note. I have a bomb." Schaffner unfolds the note and finds a neatly written message. "Miss, I have a bomb in my briefcase. I want you to sit beside me." She hesitates, her mind racing. To prove his threat, Cooper calmly opens the briefcase just enough to reveal a glimpse of red cylinders attached to wires and a large battery. The sight confirms her worst fears. This is no ordinary flight. Now, things are really starting to heat up, and this is just the beginning. If you're as intrigued as we are about what happens next, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on more incredible mysteries like this one. And stick around, because what Cooper does next will leave you absolutely speechless. The demands high stakes on a high flight. As the aircraft continues its journey, Schaffner returns to the cockpit to inform the pilots of Cooper's demands. His requests are simple yet precise: $200,000 in cash, 4 parachutes, 2 front and 2 back, and a fuel truck ready upon landing in Seattle. Cooper emphasizes that the money must be in $20 bills and that everything must be in place by 5 p.m., leaving no room for negotiation. The precision and calmness in his instructions are unsettling. Cooper knows exactly what he's doing. The pilots immediately alert air traffic control, and the situation quickly escalates. Authorities on the ground waste no time. The FBI is informed, and Northwest Orient Airlines President Donald Nairob is brought into the loop. Nairob makes the decision to comply with Cooper's demands, while the FBI mobilizes quietly. This isn't just a hijacking, it's a high-stakes chess match, and every move counts. The FBI contacts a nearby Seattle bank, instructing them to prepare the $200,000 in cash. Agents meticulously record the serial numbers of each $20 bill, a strategic move that will become crucial later in the investigation. Meanwhile, 2 civilian and 2 military parachutes are gathered, ensuring Cooper has options. The authorities hope that these details might give them an edge, even as they realize the seriousness of the threat, circling Seattle, prolonging the tension. As the plane circles above Seattle, the clock ticks. What was supposed to be a 30-minute journey now stretches into several tense hours. Cooper remains calm and composed, keeping an eye on the crew and passengers. The atmosphere in the cabin is still one of relative calm. The passengers, unaware of the hijacking, grow restless due to the unexplained delay. The pilots, under Cooper's orders, announce technical difficulties to avoid panic among those on board. Below, on the ground, the FBI and airline staff work quickly but cautiously. Every step is double-checked, there's no room for error. The cash is bundled neatly, and the parachutes are carefully inspected to ensure they are functional. Cooper's knowledge of aviation equipment is apparent, and authorities are left guessing about his true identity. Who is this man who seems to know so much about aircraft procedures and parachuting? The exchange Cooper's attention to detail. At 5:46 p.m., Flight 305 finally lands at Seattle-Tacoma Airport. As per Cooper's instructions, the plane is parked far from the terminal, isolated from police vehicles and the prying eyes of the media. Only one airline representative, cautiously approaching the aircraft, holds the money and parachutes. Cooper is meticulous, inspecting the cash and equipment before releasing the passengers and most of the crew. Flight attendant Tina McLeod remains, staying behind as a point of communication between Cooper and the pilots. The tension inside the aircraft grows as every move is calculated and executed with precision. As the plane refuels, Cooper continues issuing specific instructions. He demands the aircraft fly south toward Mexico City, maintaining a cruising altitude of 10,000 feet and a speed of less than 200 knots, another sign that he is highly knowledgeable about aircraft operations. This raises further questions among the crew: just who is this man, and how does he possess such expertise? The night jump into the abyss. With the fuel tanks full and the clock nearing 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 takes off once more, heading south. Outside, the weather has worsened significantly. Heavy rain and strong winds buffet the plane as it slices through the night sky. Cooper's calm demeanor remains, even as the situation grows more intense. At his instruction, McLeod joins the pilots in the cockpit, locking the door behind her, leaving Cooper alone in the cabin. At precisely 8:13 p.m., a warning light flashes in the cockpit, indicating that the aft stairs have been deployed. The pilots feel a sudden shift as the plane tilts slightly the moment they knew Cooper had jumped. Somewhere over the rugged forests of Washington state, in complete darkness, DB Cooper makes his leap into the abyss. The freezing wind and rain lash against his face as he descends, leaving his fate unknown. The aftermath, a massive manhunt begins. When Flight 305 lands in Reno, Nevada, at around 10 p.m., authorities swarm the aircraft. Investigators scour every inch of the plane, finding only a few traces left behind: Cooper's black tie, a tie clip, a couple of cigarette butts, and a piece of a torn parachute. The man himself has vanished without a trace. We're now deep into the mystery, but trust me, it's only going to get more intriguing from here. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always the first to know when we unravel cases like these. We've still got a lot to uncover. Do you think DB Cooper made it out alive? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and keep watching as we dig deeper into the evidence and theories that have captivated millions for decades. Unknown variables, the science behind the search. One of the biggest obstacles in the search is the uncertainty surrounding Cooper's jump. The exact wind speed, the altitude of the plane, and the weight of the money bag all contribute to the difficulty of pinpointing his location. The night's weather conditions were treacherous, with rain, darkness, and turbulence complicating the descent. The FBI consults experts from the United States Parachute Association, analyzing the conditions Cooper faced. Experts estimate that the wind at 10,000 feet was over 200 miles per hour. With freezing temperatures and poor visibility, Cooper's jump would have been anything but straightforward. The weight of the money bag alone would have altered his flight path dramatically, making his intended landing point unpredictable. To further investigate, the FBI conducts physical experiments, pushing weighted sleds and mannequins from aircraft to simulate Cooper's jump. They aim to recreate the exact conditions, including the rain and wind speed, to determine his potential landing zone. Despite these efforts, the vast and rugged terrain, combined with the natural elements, leaves too much room for error. Did Cooper end up in a river, crash into the forest canopy, or did he make a successful landing somewhere beyond the authorities' reach? The FBI's psychological profile who was D.B. Cooper. While search teams comb through the wilderness, the FBI begins building a psychological profile. Cooper's behavior during the hijacking suggests he was not a typical criminal. He remained calm, courteous, and showed no signs of nervousness or recklessness. He displayed an impressive knowledge of aviation and parachuting, which puzzled investigators. Profilers speculate that Cooper might have been a Vietnam War veteran, perhaps someone with military parachuting experience. His confidence and precision align with someone accustomed to high-risk operations. The FBI sifts through records of similar hijackings, looking for patterns and suspects who fit this unique profile. Hundreds of leads are pursued, from ex-military personnel to aviation experts, yet none result in a definitive match. The money discovery a breakthrough or another mystery. Nearly 9 years after the hijacking, in 1980, a young boy named Brian Ingram is camping with his family along the banks of the Columbia River when he stumbles upon a significant find. As he digs in the sand, he uncovers decayed $20 bills, totaling $5,800. When authorities examine the bills, they confirm the serial numbers match those recorded during the ransom exchange. This discovery raises more questions than it answers. How did the money end up on the riverbank, nearly 20 miles away from where Cooper was believed to have jumped? Investigators speculate that the money could have washed downstream, carried by the river's currents. However, the way the bills were found partially buried under sand and debris puzzles authorities. Did Cooper deliberately hide the money, or was it a result of natural forces over time? The FBI launches renewed searches in the area, hoping to find more evidence, perhaps a piece of the parachute fabric, or additional cash that could pinpoint Cooper's route. Despite extensive efforts, no further clues surface, leaving the Columbia River money as the only physical evidence ever recovered. The enigma only deepens as more theories emerge. Was Cooper alive when the money was buried, or had he perished, leaving behind the only remnants of his daring heist? Suspects and investigative dead ends. Over the decades, the FBI has investigated over 800 suspects in the hunt for D.B. Cooper. Some of the most prominent include Richard McCoy, a man who carried out a similar hijacking months after Cooper's disappearance. McCoy demanded parachutes and money, then jumped from a plane, much like Cooper had. Authorities initially believed they had their man. However, despite the similarities, McCoy's alibi during the time of Cooper's hijacking checks out, ruling him out as a suspect. Another potential lead is Robert Rockstraw, a Vietnam veteran with a background in explosives and aircraft theft. Rockstraw's skills and military history made him a compelling suspect, and private investigators and media outlets pursued him relentlessly. However, the FBI ultimately dismissed the case due to a lack of concrete evidence. Rockstraw himself, even in his old age, often joked about being Cooper, but he consistently maintained his innocence until his death. Numerous other suspects emerge over the years, each with compelling stories, but none fit all the pieces of the puzzle. The investigation becomes increasingly cold as time passes, leaving authorities and the public alike questioning if Cooper's identity will ever be known. Technological advances and new leads. As technology advances, new opportunities to solve the case arise. A team of researchers revisits the evidence, particularly Cooper's black tie left behind on the plane. Using modern forensic analysis, they discover microscopic traces of unalloyed titanium, rare earth elements, and other industrial metals. This discovery suggests that Cooper may have worked in the aerospace industry, perhaps even at Boeing, given its proximity to the crime. These new findings lead the FBI to develop a fresh theory. Was D.B. Cooper an insider with technical knowledge of aircraft construction? Investigators begin looking into employees who might have fit the profile, combing through records of those who had access to such specialized materials. Despite these promising leads, no one fitting this precise description is ever identified. Cultural impact and Cooper's legacy. Despite the lack of closure, D.B. Cooper's story becomes a lasting cultural phenomenon. Over the years, he transforms from a criminal into a folk legend. Books, movies, and TV shows explore different theories about his fate, each adding layers to his mystique. For some, he represents a symbol of rebellion and anti-establishment sentiment, a man who outsmarted the system and disappeared into the night. The story of Cooper inspires a cult following. Amateur sleuths and enthusiasts gather in online communities, dissecting every detail and clue. They debate theories ranging from Cooper's survival and escape to his demise in the wilderness. Documentaries and podcasts continue to keep his story alive, captivating new generations of mystery lovers. D.B. Cooper's legend evolves, taking on a life of its own as people speculate on the question that remains unanswered: did Cooper survive, or did he vanish forever into history? The unsolved enigma: did Cooper escape? As the years go by, the mystery of D.B. Cooper only deepens. Was he a master criminal who pulled off the perfect heist, disappearing with a fortune and leaving no trace behind? Or did he perish in the harsh wilderness of Washington state that night? The FBI's investigation remains one of the longest and most extensive in history. Despite decades of searching, analyzing evidence, and following leads, the answer still eludes authorities. What do you think? Did Cooper manage to survive against the odds, disappearing into history with his loot? Or is the truth still out there, waiting for someone to uncover it? Let us know your theories and thoughts in the comments below. Till then, bye.